Hey you guys, Krystle Marks here with Apparel. I'm so excited to be talking with you today about 5 ways to quit fast fashion in the new year. Really, fast fashion, we're going to talk about this in a little bit, is huge in an attributor to harming women, actually. So we're going to talk about the reasons fast fashion is not so great and why we may want to eliminate that in the new year. And then I'm going to give you 5 ways to quit it and get you through any withdrawals that you may have, and at least get you started. Now, we're not on here looking for perfection. So if you're looking to do 100% all in this year, that's great. If you're looking to do 80-20, awesome. If you're looking to do 50-50, any progress or any way that you're creating habits that are changing your buying patterns is really a win for me. So no judgment here. I'm just going to give you some tips to help you along on your journey. So of course, what is fast fashion? So fast fashion is inexpensive clothing produced rapidly by mass market retailers in response to the latest trends. So if you're like me, you grew up with fast fashion and you actually didn't really know anything different. It was all about getting as much as you could for the least amount of money. Well, what we're discovering is that there's a cost to that there are people, every clothing item that you own was made by a person. They have not had robots take this over. So we need to ask different questions and understand, if I'm paying $4 for a t-shirt, who's being affected by that? So you're here today, you sought this out, so I know that you're already thinking thoughts like that, so woohoo for you, that's awesome. And so we're gonna talk about, I wanna kind of just let you know the 3 biggest issues with fast fashion, and then we'll hop right into those wonderful 5 ways to quit. So I think one that's really important is to discuss is fast fashion's effect on our planet. It is the number 2 pollutant in the world, fashion is. So the fashion industry is the number 2 pollutant, only second to the oil industry. The second biggest issue, and one that's really near and dear to my heart, is that the fashion industry or the garment industry has been recognized as one of the top 5 reasons that modern day slavery is being perpetuated today. So there are people that are possibly making your clothing, if it's fast fashion, that are in forced labor. They're not free. They don't have rights. There's very little protection. If we think about it, when was the last time you saw something that was made in the USA? Not very often. Or do you know anybody who is working in the garment industry? Probably not. And that's because we've shipped everything over to third world countries where there are very lax laws, and their government is not protecting them either because it's bringing money in. Another statistic, and this is actually getting into the 3rd biggest issue, is that this mainly affects women. So in the garment industry, there are 450 million people working in it. And out of that 450 million, 85% of them are women making less than $3 a day. So most likely, 85% of the clothing that you're wearing was made by a woman who is making less than $3 a day, if your closet consists of fast fashion. So let's hop into the solutions though. What can we do to quit this, get rid of this bad boyfriend, fast fashion, right? Break up with him and really move forward in the journey of creating a more ethical, sustainable closet. Open up. So one of the easiest ways to quit fast fashion, that is a great entry into if you're going through withdrawals, is shopping secondhand. And of course we know the main ones like Goodwill or Salvation Army or St. Vinny's, all those ones that we know all over. But in your city, I just encourage you to Google and look up secondhand stores, consignment shops, and really look around. There are a few in my city that I just adore. It's a way to kind of wean yourself off of the idea of fast fashion that we constantly need to be on trend while spending less, and then we can devote, we'll talk about this in a minute, but we can devote our dollars to things that are more meaningful because of that. But it's a great way to just add those fun pieces into your closet. So the second thing that I have to recommend is buying fair trade or ethical clothing. So stop, I know what you're thinking already. This is gonna probably require another video, but that's all right. Yes, I can't afford ethical, I can't afford fair trade. Okay, so I'm putting this in perspective, and the only reason I'm saying this is because I've been through this too. I felt the exact same way. So I went, I can't afford that. Well, if I thought about it, that $10 a week that I would go and buy a shirt, or I'd buy a dress, or that was fast fashion, if I added that up over time, or $20, I would have a decent amount of money to put towards a piece where I love it, the fabric is amazing, it's not gonna fall apart in the wash or get holes in it, or the seam's not gonna go crooked, and most importantly, I can answer the question, who made my clothes? So I highly recommend you thinking in different terms and even stashing money away every month instead of buying on impulse, and just saying, I'm gonna set this money aside and I'm gonna use that towards ethical and fair trade purchases that I know I'm gonna love and are gonna be in my closet for a long time. Okay, so number 3, which I love, is buy USA made. Actually, it's really quite easy to do this. When I first started doing quitting fast fashion, I would go on Nordstroms.com, just as an example, and I would type in the search bar, made in USA, and I would select all women's clothing or whatever department that you want to shop in, and they would pull up all these brands that are USA made. Now, I can't guarantee that, just because it's USA made that it's going to align with all of your values, but most likely there are just a lot more regulations here for workers and garment workers. So you're most likely doing something that's better. So I highly recommend seeking out. And when you go to the store, the racks, look for USA made. They exist. Okay, I have a love-hate relationship with the time that we live in, but number 4 is very helpful. So there are some tech guides. I don't know what else to say. There are some tech guides out there that'll help you find these brands. So there are 2 apps one is called Good On You, and the other one is called Done Good. They also have a browser extension, Done Good does, that you can put on your browser, which I think is wonderful as well. I also highly recommend checking out Fashion Revolution's Transparency Index, because that'll give you a really good guide. So when you go shopping and you decide to do that, do it online and just focus on those brands, and then you're in the clear. Okay, you guys. Number 5 is getting to the hard issue, okay? I had to save this one for last because I didn't want to scare you off. But really, when we purchase, it's very much an emotional decision. And we have to ask questions that we maybe haven't asked before. Like, why am I buying so much? Or why am I choosing to buy even this thing right in front of me? And I promise you, and I've had to unpack this in my own heart, so you, wherever you're at, I've had to go, okay, there's a reason, an emotional reason that I choose to buy so frequently. What am I trying to fill? And there's a psychology surrounding marketing, you guys. We've grown up with it. We've grown up with the lie that if you own this thing, you will be loved, accepted, seen as successful. Bottom line is, we all know that things don't make us feel satisfied or loved or accepted. And really things like actual connection and faith and giving and receiving love, those are things that actually make this life worth living. And if I know this may sound harsh, but if I am choosing to put my own clothing above somebody else's quality of life, that's really what struck me about fast fashion and needing to be done with it. So I hope this information was super helpful. At least it's getting you thinking in a different way. Wherever you're at is great, and I know that you're just gonna rock this year. So enjoy these tips. Please let me know. Make comments below on what you think. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear it. Subscribe to our channel if you want to hear more ways coming up about how we can support and love women worldwide as this beautiful, wonderful community unfolds. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.